Sometimes the 15 minutes of fame isn't always a bad thing. One thing that we're going to learn in day 26 is how to really be intentional around the fame that may come along as a result of us building and chasing this dream. Your dream is anointed, and so is your journey to that dream. And if we have our right mindset around the 15 minutes of fame, it could either make or break the dream. So if you're ready to get into tonight's live stream, you have just entered inside of the DDTV room. Hit the like button as you come in and let us know that you're excited and you're ready. So if you're ready, let's go.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone.
Hello, everyone. I am Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. What an honor and privilege it is to be before you all for yet another live stream night. I want to welcome you guys to day 26 as we indulge in this wonderful conversation that we have been having for the entire month of August, as we have been reading none other than The Dream Chaser by Mr. Tony Gaskins. In honor of National Black Business Month, we have been convening right here on the Debt Demolisher TV, night after night, covering 8 to 9 pages at a time of this very book. Can you believe that we are like literally 5 days away from closing out the month? And when we close out this month, we're literally going to be approaching the last 4 months of this year, 2022. And I'm excited, not just about what we've been able to cover this entire time, but what we've been able to learn, not only about ourselves, but also around others and our spiritual connections, our intuition, our family, our loved ones, our friends, our spiritual mentors, our guides, and just even about ourselves. It's just a very empowering thing. And so one of my biggest hopes is that as you journeyed along during this month of reading, and particularly you all know that we have been reading several books on the channel. And this is actually, well, no, it's not the last book that we're going to be reading for the year, because we do have one more that we're going to do in September. But just the powerfulness of us coming together and reading together and expanding our minds. And this experience has been transformational. And I'm just hoping that you have been able to literally begin to get your business juices flowing. So before we start, I do want to say this, because there is a playlist that's scrolling along the bottom of the screen as you watch this video. And the Dream Chaser book that we've been covering, it has its own dedicated playlist here on the Debt Demolisher TV. And the name of that playlist is Build Up. So getting to your core purpose and dream with Tony Gaskins for Black Business Month. And initially, the subtitle, like the subcategory for all of these videos were wealth. And even though I started out and I said, this is a business book, I still kind of had like wealth attached to it. But I think like midway between us kind of going through the book, I changed the categories so that it can be business, because it's imperative that we not just emphasize the wealth aspect, but really think about the business that we're operating to actually generate whatever that wealth is that we're desiring. And this is absolutely a business book. This is absolutely a business book. It talks about processes, how you can build organically, just making sure that you know yourself, you trust yourself, and that you honor yourself, and that whatever it is that you're doing, that it feels right to you in your spirit. And just realizing that you don't always have to go and jump on the bandwagon of what everybody else is doing. Like, this is such an authentic book, and there's so many truths inside of this book that I'm just really hoping that you're getting as much blessing and value and insight out of it as I am, just because I'm facilitating our conversations on throughout the rest of this month. So if you just landed on this live stream and if you're new into the space, I want to welcome you. Welcome on into this room. And I want to also encourage you to pick up your copy of The Dream Chaser. So although we are on the last 5 days of us covering The Dream Chaser, that does not mean that you still can't jump in. So you can order your book, get your copy. It's available wherever books are sold. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Kindle. It's available on audio book. It's also, or Audible. It's also available on, what's the other version? The other version. Any bookstore, wherever bookstores, Amazon, wherever books are sold, you can pick it up. Like, I highly want to encourage everyone to pick up this book and read it. And if you want to take it in piecemeal, like we've been doing for the month, you could literally use the playlist that's dedicated to this series that we're doing, or this book profile that we're doing, and just take it day by day, 8 to 9 pages at a time. Pop in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. All of the playlists are there, and it can literally get you through 30 to 31 days, because essentially that's what we are doing. All right, everyone, let me go ahead and acknowledge the family that is in the room. That's one of my greatest and most favorable things to do, to be honest with you guys. I know sometimes it takes a lot of time to greet you all. So if you're new and you hear me shouting everybody out, singing the jingles and stuff that I made up for them, and dancing and hooting and hollering around, that's a little bit of my personality. So if you aren't too excited about the high energy, then you might want to either pause or come back once I get into this side of the conversation, because it's probably going to take us a couple of minutes. But if you feel so inclined to just stick around and feel the excitement, feel the energy, and feel the love in the room, we would love for you to continue to tune in, because I got to greet my family. And Sherry is first in the room. She says, happy Friday. And not only is it Friday, it is Financial Freedom Friday. And none other than Miss Sherry right here is the one who gave us our theme for the day. So one of the things that we did collectively as a DDTV unit, we came up with themes for the day. So some folks came up with the theme, and I think only 2 of them were the ones that I came up with, but we all agreed on the theme, and Sherry gave us Financial Freedom Friday. So Sherry, I want to thank you for giving us our theme of the day. Let's go, Sherry. 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 Instant income, Sherry. Let's go, Sherry. Hey, shout out to Sherry in the room. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. We got Q Scott, a DDTV moderator. Q Scott, a DDTV moderator. I said Q Scott. I said Q Scott. I said Q Scott. DDTV moderators in the room. Q Scott says hello to all and happy Financial Freedom Friday. Yes, it is Financial Freedom Friday. Hey, Q Scott, so good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Let's go. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Let's go. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Pass it to Bria. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Pass it to Bria. Oh, shout out to Q Scott in the room. So glad that you're here, and welcome on into this room. And thank you so much for your service, not only tonight, but all the other nights and all the other live streams that you serve as a DDTV moderator. Appreciate you so much from the bottom of my heart. We got Lisa Smiles in the room. Body butters. Lisa Smiles in the room. Glow butters. Lisa Smiles says, happy Friday, DDTV fam. Happy Friday, Lisa. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I am so glad that you are here. Hey, I said, hey, little Lisa. Get it, Lisa. Hey, little Lisa. Do it, Lisa. Sliding on through with them glow butters. I said, sliding on through with them glow butters. I said, hey, little Lisa. Do it, Lisa. Hey, little Lisa. Get it, Lisa. Sliding on through with them glow butters. I said, sliding on through with them glow butters. Let's go. Shout out to Lisa Smiles in the room. So glad that you're here. Happy Financial Freedom Friday to you. my dear. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Sherry put her DDTV channel membership banner in the chat. Thank you so much for that. And I want to celebrate you too, Sherry, for 3 months of being a DDTV fan. I said 3 months of being a DDTV fan. I appreciate you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I appreciate you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I appreciate you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Come on, Sherry. Thank you so much for being a DDTV channel member. For those of you who are not familiar, we have a DDTV channel member, and that gives you access not only to our quarterly members only live stream, that also gives you access to having the wonderful badges that you guys see beside each and every person's name who is a DDTV fan member. And it also gives you access to our custom emojis that we use to communicate internally. So if you see little music signs going on in the chat, that means that's the jingle stamp. And whenever I sing their songs, they typically drop the jingle emoji. So to represent, So shout out to Sherry for being a channel member. I greatly appreciate you, Sherry, from the bottom of my heart. Come on, Q Sky. Y'all dropping them in there. Q Sky celebrating 4 months. Come on, y'all. 4 months. And the channel membership actually opened up 4 months ago. Just 4 months. I was able to get the eligibility to create a membership group. So Q Scott been an A1. Let's go. Q Scott been an A1. Let's go. Q Scott been a Q Scott been a Q Scott been an A1. Let's go. Thank you so much, Q Scott. So glad that you're here. Thank you so much that you're here. Q Scott is saying thank you to Sherry and reminding everybody of our milestones. We got Queen Lisa H in the room. She says, greetings, DDTV family. Hey, Queen Lisa H. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I am so glad that you here. Hey, I said Queen Lisa H got the takeoff stand. I said Queen Lisa H got the takeoff stand. She got the takeoff stand. She got the takeoff stand. I said Queen Lisa H got the takeoff stand. She ready to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. She trained to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. She got that takeoff stand. She got the takeoff stand. I said Queen Lisa H got the takeoff stand. Let's go. Shout out to Queen Lisa H in the room. So glad that you're here all the way from that NY stand all the way up. So glad that you're in the room. We have Coach Sheena that is here who celebrated a testimony. We were celebrating you, Coach Sheena. We were celebrating you, Coach Sheena, once again for the action and the decision making that you've been making, and you've been able to see increases in your business. Amen. Because you're making moves, you're making decisions, and it's turning out for your betterment. So we celebrated you on yesterday. But Coach Sheena says, hi, DDTV family, listening while driving, and I'm loving the new tote bag. Yes! So Coach Sheena got her My Prosperity Awaits Me tote bag. Is one of the line items or the collection items that's in my apparel line or accessory line for the Debt Demolisher collection. So I'm so excited that you got your tote bag, and I'm hoping that you love it. I'm hoping that you like it. It's extra spacey, extra roomy. So you got to make sure that you, use it and rock it and wear it. So thank you so much for that. But Coach Sheena, what you do, Coach Sheena. Come reading in the room, Coach Sheena. I say, what, Coach Sheena? I say, what, Coach Sheena? What you gonna do today? Coach Sheena, what you gonna read tonight? Coach Sheena, when you gonna bring the word to us? Coach Sheena be, Coach Sheena be, Coach Sheena be doing it every day. Hey, shout out to Coach Sheena in the room. So glad that you're here. Welcome on into the room. I said Akila is in the room. I said Akila came singing in the room. No, I can't sing like her, but I'm gonna try to blow these tunes like her. Let's go. Shout out to Akila in the room. So glad that you're here. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that you are here. Yes, Q Sky has dropped the link to the Dream Chaser. So thank you so much for that, Q Scott. For those of you who want to find the book, who want to get the book, you got the link right there. So no excuses. Come on, let's go. Oh, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for all of the compliments. Y'all compliment me on my hair. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm loving that. Thank y'all so much for the compliments. I had to go get in my stylist chair. Do you hear me? I had to go get in her chair. Amen. So Q Scott says we're closing in on the end of our readings. of Tony Gaskin's book, The Dream Chaser. Yes, but we welcome you back for day 26. Grab the audio book, grab the hard copy. If you haven't done so, if you still need it. If you already got your book, just come on in here, slide in and read with us. We got Tracy Ann in the room. She said, hey, DDTV family. Hey, Tracy Ann, so good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here all the way from the what? West side, stand all the way up. And not only stand all the way up, you slid it right in the bank. You slid it right in the bank. You slid it right. You slid it right in the bank. Hey, shout out to Tracy Ann in the room. So glad that you're here. We got a Keisha in the room. Let's go. We got a Keisha in the room. Let's go. We got a Keisha in the. We got a Keisha in the. We got a Keisha in the room. Let's go. Hey, Keisha. I go, Acacia. Hey, Acacia, come on, let's go, Acacia. Let's go. Hey, Acacia. I go, Acacia. Hey, Acacia, come on, let's go, Acacia. Let's go. Shout out to Acacia in the room. DDTV moderator, the tag team is in the live stream room tonight, and I am so blessed and honored to be amongst you all on this evening. Acacia is saying, greetings, DDTV family. She's also saying, welcome to the room, kings and queens. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, join the DDTV channel membership, and take notes, because we finna get into work. And that is the perfect segue to conclude our introductions and get right on into our assigned reading. So every single morning, 9 a.m. I think today I misscheduled, so it went out at 9:30. So I apologize. I think I hit the wrong thing in the schedule for 9:30 instead of 9. But 9 o'clock, the new inspirational post goes up. And that inspirational post of the day, because we're covering a book, is a quote that I pull from the assigned readings that we do. So typically what I do, a quote card goes up every day. But if we are reading a specific book on the channel collectively, on like for a month, then all of the quotes selections come from the book that we're, the chapter or the pages that we're covering. So this morning, of course, the selection of the day went out. Inside of the community post, if you expand it, it will tell you the reading assignment. So it'll tell you the chapters as well as the pages that we're covering for that particular period. So that way you could always get caught up and know exactly what we're going to be covering. Even though every live stream when we conclude, I also give the reading assignment in advance. So in case anybody wants to read right after our live stream, their reading will already be done. So I do it twofold. I tell you what we're going to read, what the reading assignment is for the next day. And then at 9 o'clock, it's on the community page in that morning for you. So our reading assignment for day 26, we had to read pages 215 all the way to 222. 215 covered the remaining portion of what we read yesterday about 15 minutes of fame. And that is chapter 18. And then we began to start reading chapter 19, the corporate crossover. So let's start with the highlights. I'm telling you, this assigned reading, not only was it ordained, I just feel like it was like a twist to the message. So I felt like yesterday when we were reading through that portion of the readings, it started out by people essentially misusing that 15 minutes of fame, or allowing that 15 minutes of fame to get to their head and derail them off of the purpose, the intention, the mission. That's the core reason behind the dream that they're chasing in the first place. But as we read, at least I don't know if anybody else picked this up, but this was how I felt. I was like, oh, this is an interesting twist. And this thing is wonderful. I just wrote so many things in the margins, circled, starred, a lot of personal messages to myself. I even wrote prayers in the open section because I was just so moved this morning by reading the selection. So 215, he started out by saying, I'm reading from the top of page 215. If you're new, if you're following along, he says, be smart about your 15 minutes, even if it hurts you in the moment. So remember, we were reading a little bit yesterday. He was talking about how you could use your 15 minutes of shame, meaning if it was something that you had gone through, maybe something that you might not want to share, or maybe even something that could make you look like a bad person in some way. You know, it could turn people off depending on what your story is. And he says that that could be shame, but it could turn into fame. So he's saying, be smart about your 15 minutes, even if it hurts you in the moment. He says, if you know that your heart is in the right place, then keep doing it and it will turn around in your favor. I'm pretty sure many of us had shameful stories or things that we weren't really fond of or not really proud of when it comes to something that we may have done in our own lives. I know that I'm not perfect. I am far from perfect, you guys. So don't think for a second that I'm coming up here like I'm Miss Perfect Patty. What was the movie? Perfect Patty messed up. Janet Jackson. Why did I get married? Perfect Patty messed up. I'm not a perfect Patty by any means. I'm not a perfect Patty by any means at all. And we may have shame. We may have some things that we're not necessarily proud of. We may have things that we may want to forget in our lives. But one of the things that we always have to remember is that everything that we go through is not necessarily for us. So your pain, your discomfort, your stress, your horrible financial situation, your life being turned upside down, it's not for you. Your story is for someone else. And I've learned that early on because I used to be I've always been like a private person, and I never wanted to share. I didn't want people to really know anything, like what was really going on in our situation or whatever. A lot of my friends and stuff, they didn't even know how bad it was, like with my mom's situation, unless they actually got to see an incident. I remember one time, one of my friends was like, oh my gosh, now I see, because there will be times like when I was like, this was back when I was in college. And, you know, my mom, she has her mental impairments or whatever. So she has her moments where she just can be very overbearing. And I know it's not from a space of hurt because, you know, I'm her child or whatever, but it's just the way that she is because of her mental impairment. And so it will be times where like I'm trying to study, like I got exams. And so I lived in the library. I was like literally always in the library. And there were moments when, you know, my phone will be off because I'm trying to study. Like I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm trying to study. And I remember it was one particular year where we were studying for like finals or whatever, and they would keep the 24-hour study room open during that period. And I remember my phone was off, and it was probably like midnight. And I was in there studying, and the campus police came in the study hall and called my whole government, called my name, and I looked, and they were like, da, da, da. I was just like, yeah. And they were like, your mom is looking for you or something like that. And they told me to come. I was like, what? First of all, I was so embarrassed because I wasn't the only one in the study hall. Like the study hall was packed. Even though we were all quiet, everybody was trying to study and it was packed. And I had to get up and take all my stuff because, you know, people steal. So I had to take all my stuff so my stuff wouldn't be missing. They wouldn't take my books or nothing. So I had to get up, take my stuff, and walk to the library counter. And they put, I guess they transferred the call or whatever, and my mom was on the line. Yeah, I was so mad. So that was like one, I mean, I understand it was out of concern, but it was just like something. It's like, Mom, like I told you I'm studying. Like, I told you I'm going to the study hall. And just because my phone is off and you can't get to me when I told you that I was going to be in the 24-hour study room, and you still calling 50 million times and trying to get all my friends and then calling campus police and going to embarrass me like that. Yo, I was like, Mom, I'm studying. I have finals. Like, I have finals and I'm trying to pass. And like, you're really stressing me out right now. But that was one instance. But there were other instances too, where sometimes like I would be on the phone because she would call me repetitive, like back to back, even though I've told her I'm going to class, I'm going here, I'm going to work, I'm in work study, da 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 da. And then plus, I'm not really a phone person. I don't like to answer my phone, to be honest with you. My phone is either all the time, my ringer isn't even on because I don't like the chimes and the dings and all of that. I silence all of that stuff. And most of the time my phone is on do not disturb. So people can't even really get to me anyway. So I'm not a phone person. And I think it's probably because of the constant calls that I would get all of the time from my mom. I just get annoyed. I'm sorry. I just do. And I remember one time my mom just kept calling. She kept asking me the same thing. And I ain't gonna lie, I snapped. I was like, Mom. And then my friend looked at me and she was like, "Ooh." She's like, why Sophia talking to her mama like that? She was like, why Sophia talking to her mama like that? But she didn't get it until I think it might have been like a couple of years later, because it was probably closer to, I think I had just gotten out of college, if I'm not mistaken. So I might have been fresh out of school. And I think something happened, but she was there and she was able to witness it. She was like, oh my God. Now I see why you be going off sometimes on your mom. And she's a social worker, so she's in the mental health field, so she gets it now. But a lot of times people didn't know all of that. They were like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea, like all of this was going on. People really don't know if you don't tell them. And I used to be ashamed of that. I didn't want people to know that my mom had all these mental impairments and having to live out of a bin for 8 weeks and going from here to here and just dealing with all of the challenges. I didn't want anybody to know that because I was ashamed of it. But being in the space of being pushed, being introduced to personal development, and just realizing that my story is not for me, I'm okay with sharing it. I'm okay with sharing it because somebody is going through the same thing that I had gone through or that I'm already going through. So with them seeing me manage maybe the situation in the capacity that I manage it, or them saying that I got through a specific thing, that can give them hope. That can give them hope. And so that's the purpose of the things that you go through. Because if you made it through it, then there's an assignment that's attached to that thing. So if you made it through it, you want an assignment. And if you aren't sharing your story, you are not completing your assignment. That's for somebody. You better pick it up. Page 215. Tony Gaskins continues by saying, I shared that advice every day online and celebrities started to see my name. So he basically was saying he started to take his mistakes and publicize it. He used to take his mistakes and turn and show and write and share how he turned that particular situation around. And that is what people can respect. They can respect the truth about what you've done and how you could admit to your wrongs and how you could admit when, when you didn't operate in a manner that you probably should have. And that's a huge thing because people don't want to look like they make mistakes. That's one thing that I learned early on in my career as well, was even though I had that notion of making sure, like, I don't want to be wrong because, I've been caught stupid and all of that time growing up, and that stuff kind of sticking with me. So I'm like, I don't want to feel stupid, or I don't want to be stupid, or let me just keep my mouth shut. Let me figure it out. Let me not really ask any questions. Let me just see if I can figure it out because I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to seem like I'm asking a stupid question. As I continue to grow in my career, I realized that it's okay to ask questions, number one. And then number two, when you make a mistake, and then number two, you're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a mistake in anything that you do, because no one is perfect. The only one that's perfect is the one who sent us here. Okay. He's the only one that's perfect. So if we know that we aren't perfect, then we have to accept the fact that we're going to make mistakes in our lives in some way, form, or fashion. So I learned number two, that I'm going to make a mistake. And what I learned really quickly is that I have to admit my mistakes. So I admit my mistakes, but I'm going to make sure I admit my mistakes after I figured out a solution. and I'm gonna figure that solution out quick. Because I remember one time I made a big mistake. When I talk about a big mistake, I'm talking about millions of dollars mistake. And I was freaking out. I said, if I didn't catch this error, I would have got fired immediately. I would have got fired immediately. Do you guys hear me? I would have got fired like pronto. I made a several $1,000,000 mistake with cash. Do you understand what I'm saying? With cash. I almost overspent millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Like literally. I literally submitted the transaction and everything. And I was like, oh my God. I started freaking out. And then I had to pause and I had to think, because then certain things was on a time limit. Man, I started going crazy. I was like, I got to find these people number. So I'm searching for the number and I found this number and I called and I was like, oh my gosh, like I literally just made a mistake. Is there any way that I could correct this transaction? Is there any way that this thing could be reversed? This is why you have to ask questions. Because if I had not called, if I had not tried to do the research, if I had not tried to figure it out, and I would have just let it be and then just let my superiors know, ooh, this happened, and didn't take any initiative to try to figure it out, even if they did figure it out after the fact, I probably would have got fired off of the strength of not trying to figure it out. Okay. I probably would have got fired off of the strength of not trying to figure it out. So I call this number. I get in touch with, it took me a while. It took me like a couple of, maybe 20 minutes or so, because they had to get me to the right person. And I tell them the situation. And they're like, oh, okay, yes. I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. Because it was before the cutoff time, so you could still make changes within a specific window. So they literally walked me through the phone, told me exactly where to go, what to do, woo-da-woo-da-woo, do-da-da-da-do, do boom, 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 gave me the whole step, everything to do. And y'all know I was trying to get that thing out quick because I was like, oh, I just didn't want to take any chances. I just didn't want to take any chance. I didn't want like the money to accidentally go or get pulled or drafted or none of that. I was just like, let me just do this real quick. So I'm walking through on the phone, give me the steps. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. So not only did I get it resolved, not only was I able to make the right purchase amount, nobody would have known if I didn't open my mouth. So after I got the resolution, after I fixed it, I got all those steps. Guess what I did? I sent the email. I let my boss know exactly what happened. Not only did I let my boss know exactly what happened, I shared the steps that the representative gave me. I said, so in the event, I flat out told him myself, I said, I made a mistake today. I said, I made a mistake today. And I told them, I said, I did this, I almost did this. We would have had, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said, however, I called and I found out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I said, so if anybody else runs into this situation, they can now know that there's a way out as long as they do it within this window. So I sent that or whatever. And then I think my boss had finally read it at some point and wrote back and was like, great job. Great job. So not only did my boss give me kudos, but my boss also indicated the fact of thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So not only great job on getting it resolved before it became an issue, but even better, thank you for telling on yourself and then letting us know that there is a solution for this situation if it were to ever happen, because we know we ain't perfect. Mistakes can happen because you can miss one step, and that's what happened. I missed one step and it could have cost millions of dollars. One step can cost you a few $1,000,000 mistake, just missing one step. So when you tell on yourself, That is a sign of letting people know that you're not afraid to say that you are not perfect. Because what I could have did was not said anything. What I could have did was hit it like my work was right all along. But the way my character is set up, the way my integrity is set up, I said, no, I got to tell on myself. And not only do I need to tell on myself, I need everybody else to know that there's a fix. So if you ever come across this situation, you won't have to be like I was, sweating and fretting and getting ready to have a nervous meltdown until I had to say, so think. Like, you stressing over it is not going to get the issue resolved. Just pause. What happened? Who can you call? And the only person that you can call is the person where you submitted the transaction to at this point. And I'm so glad that I did that, because it got it corrected. And now we know that there's a solution for a similar problem if it were to ever happen on our end again. So it ain't nothing wrong with telling on yourself, because it will not only bless you, it'll free you. Because imagine if I would have felt guilty. I would have felt guilt. Even though I fixed the problem, I still would have felt guilty behind that. That's why I say I don't have no problem telling on myself. And if whoever my superior is don't like it, then by all means, I don't need to be there no more. Because I'm going to tell on myself every chance I get. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. So he says he shared that advice every day online. And he says celebrities started to see his name. He said they would read all of my tweets as if they were a book. And then I'd get direct messages from them asking if we could talk one-on-one on the phone. He says he'd get on the phone and he started coaching celebrities and everyday people like himself. So not only did he stick to his authentic gift, which is formulation of words and speaking in wisdom. He's highly filled with wisdom. Anointed. Tony Gaskins is anointed. If y'all don't know who Tony Gaskins is, the author of this book, you might want to not only Google him, you might want to find him on YouTube. You might want to find him on Instagram. You might want to find him on Facebook. You might want to find him on TikTok. You might want to find him on LinkedIn. You might want to find him on whatever platform is of your choice. Because he's going to bring you a word, a good one, that may cut you, but it's going to bless you so that you can heal at the same time. Ooh, come on, somebody. Tony Gaskins. Shout out to Tony Gaskins. Shout out to Tony Gaskins. He says, my 15 minutes of fame changed. So he said it went from being 15 minutes of shame to an actual 15 minutes of fame. He says he went from the valley to the mountaintop. Come on. Y'all know the video. He went from the valley to the mountaintop, from the sinner to the servant leader. He says it's crazy how things can turn around for you if your heart is in the right place. I wrote glory in the comments. When I say comments, I mean the margin of the book, because I write all up and down and through my books, because it's just what I do. 4 pages, everything. I wrote glory in the comments, in the margins. I keep saying comments, in the margins of that section, because your heart posture makes a difference. Your heart posture in anything that you are involved in makes an absolute difference. So if your heart posture isn't right, that 15 minutes of fame is not going to last. That 15 minutes of fame is going to be sabotaged. He says, it's very important that your motives are pure. I feel like we've talked about the pureness of motives throughout our conversations while we covered this book. He also says, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you will get exposed and you will also be let down. He says, be prepared for the marathon. Be prepared for the marathon and not the sprint. So why is tonight's live stream title called Will You Get Tired in the Climb? And more specifically, will you get tired in the climb to your shine? Will you get tired and climb to your shine? Because Tony Gaskins is letting us know up front that this is going to be a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is not a sprint. So we have to be in it for the long haul. We have to be able to be in it for the 400-meter dash. Is that what it is? 400-meter dash, 4x4, 10, 20, whatever it is. I can't remember all of the names. I used to run track a long time ago, and I gave that up because I used to get too winded. I was fast, though, but I was winded. So I did the 100-meter because I could sprint. But I was like, this is just too much. This is just too much. My little lungs can't be gassed out. So he says on page 216 that we have to keep working. So even when you hit your 15 minutes of fame, even when you get a sudden exposure to in whatever it is that you're doing, your business blows up, you get spotlight, you get a share out, you get whatever it is, we have to keep working and don't put ourselves in neutral because we got a shout out, we got a sudden rise in business sales, we got a sudden spike in people purchasing our courses or booking us for sessions or hiring us for contracts, and we get excited about that we lose sight of all of the work that we used to do before we even got there. So what Tony Gaskins is saying in the remaining chapter of 18 is we have to be willing to stay inside of the work, even when that highlight comes, even when your spotlight to shine begins to come. Even when. He says there are many people who have been on TV for seasons, and once their show is done, they fade into the background as if no one ever knew them. So I wrote in the margins after this section is don't quit after your 15 minutes of fame. Don't slow down after your 15 minutes of fame. He said, you have to have realistic expectations of what's to come after your 15 minutes of fame. What's to come after that highlighting 15 minutes of shine. He says it's not about the flash in the pan, but it's about the slow simmer after. Who's imagining some cooking right now? Shout out to Chef Joe. Come on, Chef Joe. Shout out to my brother. Be cooking. I ain't tell y'all, I had put in a special order. I said, Chef Joe, I said, please. I said, can I put in a special order, please? I said, I am craving some of your brunch. I am craving your brunch. I said, please, can I put in an order for some brunch? He was like, yeah, let me know what you want. So I told him everything that I wanted. Man, this brother showed up with trays of food. I said, all of this? He was like, so I don't know how. He's like, I don't know how to cook for small amounts of people. So you just gonna have to take this and let it last you for the week. I was like, oh my gosh. Phenomenal. French toast topped with strawberries, hash brown potatoes, bacon. Come on. Crab cake. Come on. Chicken tenders to go with the French toast. Come on. Shrimp, sausage, and grits. Come on. Bless my whole week. Shout out to Chef Joe for being a blessing. He be cooking, y'all. He be cooking. I said, Chef Joe, I said, you know, because he already know that my busy season is coming. So I'm like, all right, Chef Joe, I'm going to need this for the month of September. I'm going to need this for the month of September because I know I'm not going to have time to cook or, you know, like any of that. So I'm going to need ready-made food, pretty much. Ready-made food. He's like, I got you. We're going to do something budget-friendly. I got you. So shout out to Chef Joe. So he says, if you flash and then disappear, that will be it. So essentially what Tony Gaskins is saying in this part of 216 is that the flash is basically your 15 minutes of fame. But if you don't know how to keep that 15 minutes of flame, I'm going to call it flame, right? Fire, flame, shine. Come on. If you don't keep that 15 minutes of flame going, it's going to what? It's going to go out. It's going to faint, and no one is going to pay attention to it anymore. No one is going to pay attention to it anymore. So it's our responsibility that when we get that window, when our opportunity comes, we have to know how to make sure that it is leveraged. We have to make sure that we understand from a pure space, what was the point of this whole 15 minutes of fame anyway? Because if you're doing what you're doing from a space of authenticity, if you're doing what you're doing from a space of purpose, if you're doing what you're doing because you have been led to, then you know that the shine is going to be on the other side of it. The shine is coming along the way. But how many of us actually prepare for the shine? Meaning preparing in expectation that it's coming so that when it does come, we know how to handle it. What happens a lot of times is we don't really fully embrace ourselves mentally for that moment of shine coming because we don't know when it's going to come. And then when it hits, we get so excited about the shine that we tend to lose the importance of the mission that created the shine in the first place. And you don't have a plan. So you're toggling and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. But we haven't planned it through. So, in this chapter, the closing of this chapter, there's an exercise. Before we get to the exercise, I wrote in the margin on page 216 that you have to keep showing up. You have to keep showing up. Before your 15 minutes of fame and after your 15 minutes of fame, you better keep showing up. You better keep showing up the way that they found you. You better keep showing up better than the way that they found you. Come on. Because we're about growth in this journey to the dream. Am I right or am I wrong? Remember, the sky's the limit. Y'all see that ceiling? Y'all see that building? The sky's the limit. He says, don't ever do one thing and think that only one thing will carry you forever. Oh, I got so convicted about this one thing. Oh, he says you constantly have to be creating and you have to be innovating. He says, whether it's new material or new products, you got to keep working. You have to keep working. He says it's about turning 15 minutes into an hour. Who picked that up on page 216? Are you ready? Do you have the plan to turn your 15 minutes into an hour? Do you? Like, seriously. And if you don't, it's okay, because there's room for growth work for you, which is to do the exercise to begin to develop that plan. So it's a notion of identifying what potentially your 15 minutes of fame would look like in the capacity that you are seeking after, that you're striving after when it comes to your dream, what that can look like and how that can show up. And you can create different scenarios or write out different scenarios. If this were to happen, then what would I do? If this were to happen, then what would we do? If this were to happen, then where are we going? If this were to happen, how would I? Come on. Come on. That's how you devise your plan. And if you can't think of anything, then it might be your moment to sit still, try to get that word, get that divine guidance from the heavenly one, or you may have to do some research to find out what may be the thing that could be a great outcome as a result of what you're trying. Because yes, we want to make sure that we're hearing from God, but you also have to do your part too. We can't just wait. What are you going to do in the midst? What are you going to do in the midst of waiting to hear and feel God's direction? Oh, because he won't say it to you. I know he said it to me. But even If I don't hear it yet, I'm still going in motion. I'm still going to look. I'm still going to research. I'm still going to at least draft out some alternatives or something. And it may be complete. I may end up hearing from God something completely different than what I research. And that's okay. At least we both know that you wasn't just sitting and waiting. You wasn't just sitting and waiting. Faith without works is dead. Come on. You know the word. He says you have got to be able to prove and keep proving that you got the goods. 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 Do you got the goods? Do you got the goods? Hey, I got the goods. I got the goods. Hey, you got the goods. You got the goods. Hey, you better prove your goods. Come on. You better prove your goods. Amen. Because can't nobody do it like you. No. Can't nobody do it like you. No. Can't nobody do it like you. No. Can't nobody. He gives us practical steps on the bottom of page 216. Now, you guys know how I feel about strategy and intellectual property. So if I feel something that is literally like a strategy, I'm just going to tell you to read it. I'm not going to say it because I know that this is a free platform. Some people may be watching and they don't even have the book. So if you want to know what this strategy is that Tony Gasson's just laid out, take a pen, take a paper, because Acacia already done told y'all to take notes. Take your pen, take your paper, and write down page 216 of the Dream Chaser and put last paragraph. Then when you order your copy of the book, you go to 216 and you read the last paragraph. And then there you have it. So y'all know what I'm talking about. For those of us who have the book, you know exactly what strategy and what step I'm talking about. But read that, because that was a whole game plan plus an exercise. So page 217 takes us to our quote of the day. And this quote of the day truly spoke to my heart. It truly spoke to my heart, because I remember conversations that I've had with myself. I remember conversations that I have had with the Lord. I remember even things that I would bring up in the leadership fellowship that I was in about 3 years ago. And I remember asking a specific question to the executive coach at the time during this fellowship that I was in. And I was basically asking about like authentic leadership and authentic influence. You know what I mean? Like being a true, authentic, influential leader. And I remember the executive coach, because this was like in the beginning. I think it was like our first round of, because it was a long program, y'all. And then they asked me to come back as a co-coach, and they worked me, child. They worked me. I was like, oh my goodness, they worked me, but it was a great experience. So I guess they call me a senior fellow now because I served as a co-coach. But I remember in that session, we had to do like a round robin, or I don't know. I think I raised my hand because I wanted to know. No, I think we did a round robin. So it got to me, and I shared about this thing about authentic leadership, like really like influencing people from not from a selfish way, but from an authentic way. And I remember the executive coach, she looked at me and she was like, you know, that is very good. She was like, I've never heard it in that way before. So this is another thing, how powerful it is for you to do that self-assessment for yourself. And even when you get in spaces in different environments, it's okay to bring it up as a conversation, because somebody may not have ever heard of it in that capacity, even if they have been executive coaching, facilitating, and training for 20 plus years. Why? Because no one person is the same, and no one person is going to have the very same questions. So sometimes you got to speak up. So not only that you can get the answer that you need, but that you can also help the trainer, the facilitator, be better at what they do, because now they have a different perspective that can now be researched, that can now be incorporated into some form of an exercise or whatever, to make sure that their future students, their future fellows can have a different exercise and a different approach, and may now even be able to think of it from that space. So don't be afraid to speak up. But this takes us to the quote of the day. So he says, there are people who have gone before you and turned their 15 minutes into lifelong careers. He also says, if it can be done once, then it can be done again. So the quote of the day says, you want to have influence and you want to have an impact. There are different levels of influence. He says, but you don't always have to be on the mountain to have influence. You don't always have to be on the mountain to have influence. He says you can be in the climb and still be influential. So you guys know that I love Tony Gaskin's spoken word album, The Greatness. And today I listened to The Climb like on repeat. I literally listened to The Climb on repeat. That's one of the tracks that's on his spoken word album, The Greatness. I highly suggest, if you have not downloaded the Tony Gaskin's Greatness spoken word album, please feel free to download it. Listen to all of the tracks. Greatness is actually my favorite track, but I also love, I love all of them, but I love Greatness and I love The Climb. And I was listening to The Climb over and over and over because I was internalizing the words. And it's all about perspective. Like, it's really all about what you think about yourself and what you think about the mission that you're pursuing. Because how you look at what you're pursuing will determine whether or not, if you believe, how influential you are. Even though you may not be labeled as influential by somebody else. You have to know within your core cores that even though you may not be well known or popular or visible and everybody knows your name, everybody sees your face, that does not mean that you are not influential on your way to your next level. So what Tony Gaskins is reminding us in this quote is that we don't always have to be at the top of the mountain in order to be considered influential. You are influential right where you are. You are influential today, right where you are. Somebody is looking up to you. Somebody is seeking out your wisdom. Somebody is hoping that they can learn something from you. But if you aren't allowing yourself to believe that, how are you going to show up as that? Come on. That was a word. If you aren't willing to show up as that, you definitely don't believe in that. So if you really want to be influential, you got to believe that you are. And I'm reminding you that you are influential just as you are, flaws and all, as long as you continue to grow and better yourself. As long as you continue to grow and better yourself. So here's the exercise that I circled. So Tony Gaskins is telling us on page 217 to get ready for your moment and have a plan for what you will do with it. Have a plan for what you will do with it. He says in our internet age, we see people go viral every day. You can tell the people who plan for it and the people who just got lucky. And my hope and prayer is that you won't be the person who just got lucky. If we're reading this book and we're doing the work that's inside of this book, then we should have already jotted down as an exercise, if you don't have it already, what your plan is for when your moment arrives. He says the people who planned for it turn a viral video into a career. He says they roll out their plan that they've dreamed about for years. So the exercise for tonight The exercise for tomorrow morning. The exercise for whenever you want to do it. You can save it for the weekend. It's to identify your plan. Go through that previous thing that we just talked about. If this happens, then. If this were to come across my way, then what will I do? Be prepared. Plan. So that you won't have to waste time trying to figure it out once it does happen. Come on, because 15 minutes don't last long. 15 minutes don't last long. 15 minutes does not last long. If you need a sand timer that reminds you of 15 minutes, you might want to get one. Amazon sells it. 15 minutes don't last long. Tony Gaskin says in the last paragraph that you have to plan for success. You have to plan for, you have to prepare for success. And you have to be ready when success meets you. Ooh, come on, August 2016. No, what is this? August 26, 2022. You have to be ready when success meets you. Because remember, success is going to meet you where you are. Success is going to meet you where you are. So if it comes to you and you're unprepared, that success is only going to last 15 minutes. If it comes to you and you have not planned, that success is going to bypass you. It's going to look for the next person. It's going to move on to the next. Tony Gaskins closes out chapter 18 by saying, it will knock. It will knock, but it won't wait too long for you to answer the door. "15 minutes don't last long. So you got to be ready." He says, seek out not just your 15 minutes, but instead a way to become world renowned. And you become world renowned by working hard and being persistent in your pursuit of greatness. You guys, I beg of you, please listen to the Greatness album. Internalize the words, listen to it on repeat, and then come back and read the very page on 217 every night if you have to, every day if you need to. Because we need to see this. We need to feel this. We need to believe this. And the words inside of the Greatness album is going to help make that connection. I believe that the right track for you is going to find you and meet you right where you are. It's going to serve you right where you are. So get the Greatness album, iTunes, wherever music is downloadable, wherever music can be streamed. He even got some of the Greatness tracks on YouTube. He even got them on YouTube. Oh, God bless Mr. Gaskins. Okay, page, chapter 19, and then we're going to go. I know I got a lot of notes, but we're going to go. 19 is beautiful because even if you don't know what to do about your plan, what is the next chapter? The next chapter is going to allow you to do that. Chapter 19 is designing your own plan. So what is he saying, designing your own plan? He says, no one knows you better than you. No one knows you better than you. He says, yes, you may need some tweaking to your plan. You may need to be able to, leverage some advice. He says, but no one no matter what you add into your plan, no matter what anyone else adds into your plan, you have to be able to understand it. Because if you don't understand it, then you aren't going to execute on it. And if you're not going to execute on it, then the plan is null and void. It ain't going to do nothing for you. So no one knows you better than you. He says that Mark Zuckerberg knows what's best for Mark Zuckerberg, not Bill Gates. Bill Gates knows what's best for Bill Gates, not Mark Zuckerberg. He says, sure, they can pitch ideas around and advise one another, but at the end of the day, each person will have to make the decision for themselves. I'm reading from the top of page 220. And you all can tie this even to your finances. So even though you may be looking for advice in your financial situation, you're still going to have to learn how to assess. You're still going to have to learn how to make the decision for yourself. And that's one of the things that I encourage on this channel. Yes, I share strategy, I share options, but I'm not going to say that it's going to work for you, because it may not. Because only you know you. You know you better than I know you. You know you better than any other coach will know you. You know you better than any other advisor will know you. So what somebody is suggesting to you may not work for you. But how will you know that? So you have to learn how to exercise your financial decision making. And that's the whole purpose of why we come together on Saturdays, to help you execute, to help you make your own decisions, to have the space so that you can be able to do this work and not feel like you're doing it alone. Because I know money is touchy. I know people don't like to really share the financial state that they're in. We don't want to get into the truth and talk about our financial dysfunction. And now that I'm okay with sharing my financial dysfunction, I want to help everybody else get out of theirs too. That's all I want. That's all I want, is for people to learn from my mistakes, from people to learn from my financial insecurity, for people to see how willingly I'm admitting and willing to admit how stupid I was in my finances. I had an emotional, dysfunctional relationship with money because of insecurity. In little words or no words, that was the reason. And there are many others who are experiencing that same thing, but they put up the facade like they okay. But their finances on the back end is a complete wreck, just like mine was. Just like mine was. So there's no need to be ashamed. There is no need to feel fear. There is no need to be frustrated, because there is a way out if you choose to. There is a way out if you choose the route out. But hovering in the wallowing in the upset and trying to hide it and mask it, and it's not going to serve you in the long run. It's not going to serve you or your legacy, for that matter. So don't be afraid to come in here and do the work. If you haven't done a budget, come join us tomorrow morning. Every Saturday, we have working sessions on the channel. Saturday, the budget Saturday starts at 8. Any other off Saturday starts at 9. Tomorrow is a budget Saturday. So we come in 8 o'clock in the morning and we budget together. Budget with me live stream. I think what you're calling for is going to be, it's going to come out after I finish this live stream, because I'm going to set it up so that way you can just click to be notified to remember to come on in here if you're going to be up at 8 a.m. Eastern. And I do a little bit of teaching, and then we go into our working session. We're going to do two working sessions, so 2 45-minute sessions. And in between, we check in. But I open up with a mini lesson. We go into the working session for 45 minutes straight, check in, see how we did, see what came up for us, see what we were able to get done. And then we do another 45-minute leg, and then we check in and then close out. So that's how it goes on Saturdays. So join us. Join us. We be having fun. We be finding discrepancies. all kind of errors we be finding in our stuff. We be finding money, all kind of stuff. Just come in and sit down and get your budgets done. Come on. All you need is a piece of paper and a pen and a listing of your bills. That's all you need. That's all you need. Tony Gaskins continues on by saying on page 220 that if you don't design your own plan, then you will always need someone else to implement your strategy. Pick up that gem. This can apply to any area of your life. If you don't design your own plan, then you will always need someone else to implement your strategy. And what does that mean? You are not living that indie life. What did we cover in chapter 17? Was indie life chapter 17? I think it was. Yeah, indie life chapter 17. You ain't living that indie life. You got to keep relying on so many other people to make your own plans. Come on. He says, if you always have to be dependent on someone else, then you can never truly be independent. That indie life, you're not there. He says things will become simpler over time and you'll be able to advance down the line. So he's basically saying, even if it may feel challenging, just still continue to work on it. Like push through it. Figure out what you don't know. Go through the process of designing a plan and testing a plan and then tweaking it as you go. The more you do it, the better that you'll get. I've seen that. The better that, the more that I do things, I find simplified ways to be able to get through it. What else? And then we're going to the last page and then we're going to go. I love this piece because he talked about how he couldn't figure out like systems or whatever, or the people who he worked with didn't know how to streamline things to allow, like when orders came in, for it to automatically go to creating an email. What is it? Like capturing the emails and putting it in the CRM and all of that kind of stuff. So he had to go the manual route because his systems people didn't know how to do it at this time back then. So basically, Tony is saying that, well, because they couldn't do it, that didn't mean that he wasn't going to keep doing what he needed to do to get his courses sold or get people to register for events and so forth. He had to figure out a way. And even though it took longer, even though it might have been more complex, he did it because it worked. He did it because it had to be his alternative. And what he's saying here is that, and I wrote this at the top of page 20 on page 222, create a system that you can manage based on the season that you're in right now. So you may be looking at somebody else's system, but they're in a whole different season than you. So what you're trying to get at, or what you're trying to leverage and what you're trying to do may be way outside your level, way outside your zone. So it's going to be more complex and may require more. And you're trying to figure stuff out and you're delaying what you need to be doing because you're trying to be on using a system that somebody that's on a level 10 times higher than you is using. So you have to think about where you are. You have to think about where your financial budgeting means are for your business or for whatever it is that you're creating. How much are you willing to invest? How much are you willing to spend? How much do you have? Because if we don't, then we could be sabotaging the very thing that we're building because we're trying to be like somebody else or leverage what somebody else is doing because they say it creates more efficiency for them. So Tony said, I didn't have time to try to figure all of that out and do this and do that and find somebody else. No, I'm going to do the old school system. If I got to print out labels, if I got to do this, if I got to copy and paste emails from a notepad and blind CC people on it, then that's what I'm going to do. The system was working for me right now. So create a system that you can manage based on where you are. You got to stop watching other people all the time. He said that in the climb. He said, basically, stop watching other people and instead let them watch you. So you work instead of you watch other people working. Come on. Last thing, and we're going to close out. He says, find a way around whatever it is that you need done that you may not have the efficient system to do. So find a way around it. Do what you need to do. He said, if there is a way, there's always a way. So if you ever feel stuck in a situation, I just want you to remind yourself that there's always a way. You may want to write that as a reminder, affirmation for yourself, especially when we're in this entrepreneurial journey, this dream building journey. We're going to have to remember that there's always a way, because that needs to be our response to any rejection that may come forth, because we know that we're going to experience rejection along the way. And he talked about his book promotion strategy, you guys. That was just powerful in and of itself. And I'm not going to share that either, but you read page 222, read the last paragraph, and he talked about how he basically promoted his book and what he did and how much it cost him and so forth. And even again, at the top of page 223, because I ran out of writing space on 222, I wrote that you may not have time to learn the simplified. Like, you may not have time to learn how to simplify things. So you have to just keep using your system, even if it takes longer. Even if it takes longer, because eventually you'll learn what you need to learn in order to be more efficient as you go. So this was a healthy reminder, even for me, to not feel like I need to be rushed or pushed or whatever. Just do what's working. And even as you do it, you'll find efficiencies along the way. I'm even telling you, even with things that I'm like, oh, I could cut this out. I can do 2 in 1. I can leverage this. And as you go, your mind will begin to be more creative around things. And it's a wonderful process. You guys, if I can just say this one thing to close out, enjoy your journey. Soak in this journey, even if you are an existing entrepreneur. I know some of you all are full-blown entrepreneurs. Some of you all are full-time employees that are pursuing entrepreneurship on the side. Some of you are retired and you are wanting to start your business or grow your business or expand your business part-time. Enjoy the ride. Remember every season, every moment of your ride. And what is the best way to remember? The best way and how to remember it is by documenting. And you can document in several forms. You can write in a journal. You can record audio messages to yourself. You could start a YouTube channel and share your journey and show your face and show up and document it that way. You could use your social media platforms if you so choose to document. You could just video record and just save it and have video diaries. But I want to strongly encourage everyone who is really in this pursuit, who's really serious about this thing and serious about what we're reading here, to begin to document. Because you're going to experience some ups and some downs and some highs and some lows. And somebody is going to need to hear, see, read how you got through it. And we all know that the longer we go, our brains may not be the sharpest. So the only way to have it etched in stone is to get it documented. in whatever preference of documentation you would like. This is going to be big. This is going to be big. Mark my words, this is going to be big. Your story is going to be big. Your journey is going to be big. Why? Because your dream is big. And your dream is big. Why? Because it has been seeded and it has been planted by the greatest of great. By the greatest of great. So even in your moments of toiling and stressing, just know it's a part of the journey. And it's going to all come together for we all know the scripture. For those who love the Lord. Come on. Look, Sheena, I said, Sheena, Lisa Smiles is over here yelling, shouting. Where's the praise stamp? Let me put that up. Get up and shout. She is shouting. Got the shout emojis going on. Look, Queen Lisa H got the getting up and shout emoji going on. I'm loving it. Lisa Smile says this is gonna be big, and she got the praise stamp going on. Let me go back to the praise stamp. She got the praise stamp going on. Come on. And if you bout that life, for sure, you better say it, Q Scott. Enjoy the journey. Yes. Yes, she got the fact stamp up. Come on, facts. Come on, facts. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you so much, Acacia, for dropping the budget tools. So if you guys need budgeting tools in preparation for the budget session tomorrow, feel free to grab a copy of yours. I mean, you don't have to literally. All you need is pen and paper, but I'm a spreadsheet kind of girl, and I love it. And this one is the monthly budget versus actual. So this template is really good to help you with assessing and analyzing, because you'll be able to get your percentages to really see how your numbers are performing, like how much you're spending within each bucket. So it's a good tool to use. So thank you for sharing that, Acacia. Q Scott is saying, again, the budget with me session is tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern. You better come on into the room. You better come on into the room and meet us. Let's go. Look, Q Scott got the get to work stamp. Come on, y'all. Use these emojis. Use these emojis. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Thank you so much, Acacia, for dropping a link to the FinLead Academy. That is one of the courses that I have on basically budget savvy basics for foodies. So if you're a foodie and you want to be able to budget your money better, to still be able to have versatility in your menus and getting creative and doing it on a budget, you might want to check out the budget savvy basics for foodies course. I'm just saying, get all kind of templates and fun stuff and exercises. So it's good. All right, everybody, let's go. And So used his track on her inspirational post the other day with TG credited, of course. You already know. I sure did. Had to put that climb in there. The climb takes time. Come on, the climb does take time, y'all. We can't be in haste. Thank you so much, Acacia, for dropping the links to the ebooks. If y'all want the ebooks, feel free to pick up your copy. Akila is saying, love the Greatness album. I listen to it in the morning when I exercise. You better come on, Akila. You better say it. Look, listen to Eagles and Turkeys. Listen to the whole album. I'm trying to tell you, just listen to the whole album. Eagles and Turkeys. Let's go. I listened to it while on my walk the other morning. Come on, Lisa Smiles. Let's go. It's the weekend. Yeah, it is the weekend. It's Friday. It is Friday. And Q Sky has dropped the link of where you can get the Greatness album. So there it is, y'all. Click on that link and go. All right, everybody. We are 24 minutes over, and I am going to wrap up our live stream for tonight. And I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. But before we go, I have to let you know what we're going to be reading. So the reading assignment for tomorrow is going to start on page 223. So 223, which is going to allow us to close out chapter 19 of designing your own plan. And it'll take us into chapter 20, the corporate crossover, in which we will conclude and stop our readings on page 230. For those of you who have the audio book, I want you to listen out for the sentence, because once this sentence finishes, you pause the audio. So I want you to listen out for, I got a call from the GM assistant, or from the assistant GM, and we talked for a good bit. I was so excited and so pumped up, I probably made him think I was crazy. I always do that. I've been waiting for my moment for so long that when it finally came, I could hardly contain myself. So when you hear that, click the pause. Just click the pause, save the time, click it, save it, stop it right there, because that'll be the ending of our readings for tomorrow. So 227. Thank you, Hugh Scott, for dropping the pages in there. So 227 to 223 to 230 is the reading assignment. Community post will be posted tomorrow by 9 a.m. You'll see that, as long as a reminder of what the reading assignment is. Look, I got to tag this so I don't lose my pages. And yeah, we'll be back at 7. So we have a full house. So tomorrow, 8 a.m., Budget With Me live stream. Hope to see you guys in the room. We also have Patreon family. We have our live stream tomorrow as well, 3 p.m. Eastern. We also have Tony Gaskins. If anybody signed up for the personal branding course, highly suggest that you get up in there while you can before the cutoff at midnight Eastern, which is 9 p.m. West Coast time. So you better get in that course if you can. That's tomorrow, 8 o'clock, I believe. And then, of course, we have 8 p.m. Let me clarify. 8 p.m. Eastern is Tony Gaskins' personal branding live course, live Saturday school. And then we have day 27 of our Dream Saver conversations right here on the Debt Demolisher TV. So you guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank you so much for listening. And I want to thank you for subscribing to the channel if you're already subscribed. Thank you for hitting the like button as you entered into the room. And please come back. Like, if you feel like this message blessed you in any way, if you feel like it moved you in any way, if you thought of someone as you were listening, feel free to share this with them and just say, hey, I just received a word and I thought about you instantly, and I want you to listen to it. And even if you want to give them a specific timestamp, because y'all know I was singing and dancing and acknowledging folks. If you want to fast forward into the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes, by all means, and just send them the link to the start time after all of the dancing and stuff goes on, by all means. Do that. Be a blessing to somebody else by sharing what blessed you. Be willing to be a blessing to somebody else by sharing what blessed you, because you never know. It just might be what they needed to hear. So remember, it ain't always about you. Sometimes you could be used as a conduit. You may not even need the word that I shared in here today. You may not even need anything that was covered up in here today, but somebody you know just might. And if somebody crossed your heart, I'm admonishing you to send it to them. Be obedient to the Spirit. Be obedient, because it could be the answer to their prayer. It could be the answer to their prayer. Amen. That's what we do. Shout out to all the DDTV fan members once again, as well as the Patreon pledgees. So glad for your support. Appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. And I also want to thank our DDTV moderators, Acacia and Q Scott, for serving in the room tonight. So glad. It's always an honor to have them here. You guys, they put in so much work, commitment, dedicated. I just want to highlight them, because it's not, they don't have to do this. They don't have to do this. And I'm honored and I feel privileged to be alongside them and teaming up with us managing this channel. So thank you, Q Scott and Acacia. Please, let's get some love to Acacia and Q Scott. You guys, this has been a wonderful day. The Lord is moving, and I'm praying that he will continue to move over your life. I want to lift up another encouraging prayer to Queen Divinity and her father, praying that all is going well. Also want to lift up an encouraging prayer to Coach Harut as well. You guys, please lift up Coach Harut and her family, as well as Queen Divinity and her family in prayer. So that way, you know, we can make sure that we're lifting them up in their time of need. All right. And that goes for everybody. Remember, your financial prosperity awaits you, and so does your financial sanity. You already know what I'm going to tell you to do. And that's what? Get to work. All right. Bye.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melonē. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melonē. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia